This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
Anson is joining us in Wichita, Kansas. Anson, how can we help?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Recently my grandfather passed away, and he worked for Boeing and NASA for about 35 years. He was also in the United States Army, and when he passed away, when his will was read out, he left me and my two older brothers a very hefty sum of $3 million in his will, along with equal shares of his estate in Miami.
Wow. $3 million each?
$3 million each, yes.
Wow.
And I have absolutely no idea what to do with that kind of money. I think the biggest paycheck I've ever seen was like $2,500 for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
how long ago did you get it?
I have no clue what to do with it. I got it back in July, and I don't get to touch it until I'm 21. That was part of the agreement, was when I turn 21, then I get full access to the funds.
How old are you now?
I'm 20. I turned 21 in May.
Okay.
Wow.
And I want to know what to do with it. I have no idea what to do. I want to know, should I sit on it for, 20 years and let it, accumulate interest in a bank somewhere, take some of it out and buy a house, not something super huge, or invest it, put it in a Roth IRA. I mean, what should be the next step for somebody who's 20 years old and just became a multimillionaire?
Well, number one, I would, like you're doing, take great pause and care with this and go, okay, I want to make sure that I manage this wisely. This was a big legacy, a big responsibility put on my shoulders, and I want to be able to do the same thing for my grandkids one day versus squandering it. And your grandfather obviously did a great job to manage his investments wisely, allow it to grow. He's in real estate, he's in mutual funds, and I would encourage you to do the same over a long period of time. So I would make sure this sets you up well for success. That might mean, buying a reasonable house in cash and investing the rest.
What do you want to do? Let's just assume for a moment that the inheritance isn't there. What were you on track to doing, or at least thinking about doing with your life?
So right now I'm a full-time diesel mechanic. I manage a diesel shop close to where I live. And about a year and a half ago, I bought a used early 2000s camper trailer that I tow behind my pickup. And I was working in the oil field, and then I switched over to being a diesel mechanic just to be able to stay closer to one spot. And I've been living in the trailer. My rent's $500 a month. I own the trailer outright. I have no vehicle payments. I bought a $2,500 beater pickup, and I traded that for my current truck that I have now. And so I have no other payments other than, my internet and my phone bill and my rent. And I think my total monthly expenses is maybe under $2,000.
Fantastic.
And I was on track to saving up to go to welding trade school. But since about a month ago, I've been more steering down the road to just going to college for my degree in diesel mechanics and getting actually a piece of paper that says, yeah, I know how to do this. And that was kind of the path I was going down. I have a personal savings before I got the inheritance of about $26,000 that I've been putting into for about the last 5 years.
I'm not telling you this right now, Anson. I'm not worried about you squandering this money. Not after the caricature you just kind of painted for us. That's fantastic. Let me ask you this. On the diesel mechanic thing, did you want to eventually open up your own shop and own your own business?
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, that would be kind of the long-term goal. I'd like to get some experience under somebody else's wing. I've been doing it,
Love that.
I mean, I got my first job at 14, and I was on a ranch working, combines and trucks and stuff like that. So it's something that I really like to do. I like working with my hands.
Yeah, so let me ask you this.
The end goal is to, have a shop.
You've got plenty of money if you want to go to college, but I just got to believe that there's a shorter way for you to get that certification that, hey, I know how to do this. Am I right? I'm assuming there's a trade school for diesel mechanics. It's not a college.
Yeah, and there is, but along with, and the only reason I were away from an actual trade school is along with, getting a degree in, I could take a major in, say, diesel mechanics or whatever, but I could also take a minor in business.
Great, go for it.
So I can kind of knock out two birds.
Go for it. So there's some of your money right there. So based on the school that you want to go to and you get into and whatever that costs, there's a chunk of change right there, George. So we now know kind of where he wants to go. I was trying to dig that out for you.
I mean, education is a great next goal. And like Ken said, what's the best way to do that? And the most cost-effective way. We don't need to go blow the money just because we have it. And then beyond that, you're going to have future goals. You don't need to go out and buy real estate just because you're 21 with a bunch of money. But when the time is right and you want to buy a home for yourself or maybe for you and someone you meet and you get married, that's a great next goal, and to do that with cash. And even if you spend $500,000, let's say, between the education and the home and you get your life set up, that still leaves you with $2.5 million, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so if you connect with a SmartVestor Pro, RamseySolutions.com, you need a trusted team to walk with you. One person is going to be that investment pro. Another one would be a trusted real estate agent. Another one would be a tax pro. And you can get connected with all three of those at RamseySolutions.com and click on Trusted Services. But I crunched the numbers for you, Anson, to show you what this could turn into. From 21 to 61, you put $2.5 million in an account. Let's say it's growth stock mutual funds, whether it's retirement or not. At a 10% rate of return, which has been the average we've seen in the stock market, that would be $134 million at 61 years old.
Wow.
Does that not blow your mind?
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
I feel like that's putting a smile on Grandpa's face. And it's not because you're storing treasures on Earth.
Grave for the right reason.
But think about the impact you could have in your lifetime on your family, your community, the country.
Right.
With $134 million, you would become what's known as a philanthropist with that kind of money. And so I want you, the part that's going to be difficult is starting to change your mindset while also keeping the same life you have. Like Ken mentioned, we're not going to go retire tomorrow. I want you to sink your teeth into something that really puts some pep in your step. Yeah. And that might mean the job that pays you $80,000. That's great. And let this money cook and let it do its thing. And when the time is right, and as you mature and get older, you're going to have different goals for generosity and for spending.
Right. Well, and I would say, too, if you talk with a SmartVestor Pro, put some away for retirement, but put some away for being a benefactor. For instance, let's say because you came into all this money that you invest some money in about 15, 20 years from now, it's a pretty large number, and all of a sudden you start some type of a school for maybe underprivileged kids who are good with their hands and like with their hands to go straight from high school right into the workforce, and you have a local training program that is attached to your business. And I'm not trying to hang that on you. I'm just saying, like that gets money.
It's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that actually, because the place that I work for actually does that. We take about 5 special needs kids a week from one of the local school districts, and we bring them in and we let them wrench on stuff. And we have a whole toolbox for them, and they just do. We have a junk car or whatever, and they just tear it apart, and we don't really care.
Right.
And they just have a blast doing it. And that's funny that you said that, because that was actually part of my, if I ever did have a mechanic shop, I'd want to have a separate, places like connect with one of the school districts, get some kids out here, that are wanting to be mechanics or that just want to come
it's a great idea.
Around on a car for an afternoon.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, in the back of my mind. And kind of go back on the whole spouse thing too. I've been dating the same woman for going on 4 years now, since we were 16. And we met in high school. And I told her that I inherited some money, but I didn't tell her how much. And I'm holding out on that only for the sheer reason because, I want to kind of have it and be sure that I have it, before.
I think that's wise. That'll skew the relationship when you go, oh, and by the way, I just inherited $3 million. So I think it's wise to wait even until you're married to go, hey, I told you I inherited some money. I wanted to do this the right way. Here's what this is. Here's what my plan is to do with this. I'm managing this, on behalf of someone else, really.
Yeah, love that.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about investing, visit RamseySolutions.com/investing or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.